folks. Tonight I'm going to read you Travel from Millay's 1921 volume, 2nd April. Let's get started. Travel by Edna St. Vincent Millay. The railroad track is miles away, and the day is loud with voices speaking. Yet there isn't a train goes by all day, but I hear its whistle shrieking. All night there isn't a train goes by, though the night is still for sleep and dreaming. But I see its cinders red on the sky, and hear its engines steaming. My heart is warm with the friends I make, and better friends I'll not be knowing. Yet there isn't a train I wouldn't take, no matter where it's going. All right, so that was Travel from 2nd April. It's taken me a while to write this script for this video, and the reason for that is that I'm not really super into this poem. It doesn't do much for me. A preliminary Google search, however, does tell me it's apparently very popular with students who have to pick a poem to analyze for their English classes. So that's a thing. I wasn't actually able to find any interesting historical tidbits about this poem either. I couldn't find even the original publication date. And there weren't any botanical references to mine here, so this may end up being a short video. I guess I'll talk about the only thing I can talk about, which is the theme. Like the poem Journey, which I read in an earlier video, it speaks to the tension between novelty and practicality, and the vivid life of the mind that can arise out of that tension. As I surmised in that video, Millay was probably someone who was deeply interested in novel experiences, and if she couldn't have them, then dreaming and obsessing about them was nearly as good. I mentioned her obsession with Arthur Hooley in my video for Song of a 2nd April, and I think that's a minatory example of how she painted castles in her mind of situations that could never be. On another note about obsession and the life of the imagination, when Millay was 19, before she'd ever had any success in poetry or any significant relationships for that matter, she had somewhat of a strange ritual. Daniel Mark Epstein opens his biography, What Lips My Lips Have Kissed, with a description of this ritual. So starting on April 3rd, 1911, on the 3rd of every month, she would light a single candle, wearing a tin ring she called her ghost ring, and act out scenes with her love o' dreams, her imaginary betrothed. It was almost as if she believed she could summon this dream lover to her with sheer force of will. While this anecdote doesn't have any direct connection to this poem, it feels in the same spiritual vein. Also, it sounds kind of like something I might have done as a teenager, so I understand a little where she's coming from here. One observation I found in the many student analyses out there was that the poem notes that there is a railroad track nearby, but not a railway station. I think that's an interesting detail because it implies that this novelty train might be passing by, but it isn't one Millay could even board if she wanted to. So this yearning is basically doomed to remain unfulfilled. And I think that lends a certain capital R romantic frisson to this poem, which a lot of Millay's earlier poems kind of have. Alright, so that's really all I have to say about Travel. I hope you and your families are staying well, and that you've enjoyed this tiny dose of Millay. Have a good night.